This is the moment many Nigerians have been praying for, but almost afraid to believe. The kind of moment that feels unreal at first, like news you read twice just to make sure your eyes aren't lying to you. Because for years, the script in the Northwest has been predictable: bandits strike, communities bleed, statements are issued, and the forest swallows the criminals again. But now, something has shifted, and you can feel it in the silence coming from places that were once loud with gunfire. The headline you saw is not hype. It is not psychological warfare. It is not propaganda dressed up as patriotism. What is happening in the forest of Zamfara right now is unprecedented. Verified intelligence sources confirm that bandit groups that once moved with arrogance and certainty, are now sending out distress messages. Not coded threats. Not bravado-filled videos. Distress. They are asking for mercy. They are asking for a ceasefire. They are asking for talks. And that alone tells you everything. Because groups that are winning do not beg. Groups that feel safe do not negotiate. Groups that still control the terrain do not ask for dialogue. They are begging because the skies have turned hostile. Over the last 48 hours, the pressure coming down on this forest has crossed the psychological threshold. This is no longer a campaign of warning strikes or symbolic shows of force. Under the renewed Operation Fansan Yamma, the Nigerian military has moved into what experts describe as a denial phase, denying bandits food, movement, sleep, coordination, and above all, hope. Entire camps that once operated like small cities have vanished. Intelligence reports from December 24, 2025, describe coordinated air and ground actions that turn known strongholds in safe and moral local government areas into smoldering ruins. These weren't random hideouts. These were carefully mapped logistics nodes, places where fighters regrouped, motorcycles were repaired, fuel was stored, weapons were cached, and plans were drawn. Now they are ash. And when those camps burned, something else burned with them, the myth of bandit invincibility. A report released by Voice of Africa sent shockwaves across social media when it revealed that, for the first time in years, these groups are openly appealing to Bola Tinubu for dialogue. Their message is blunt and almost desperate: please stop the bombing. We are ready to talk. No conditions. No demands. Just a plea. But Nigerians are asking the right question: why now? Is it sudden remorse? Or is it exhaustion? Because this change of tone didn't come from nowhere. It followed a deliberate escalation by the military. Earlier in the week, around December 19th, coordinated ground operations dismantled key enclaves in Shinkify and ISA LGS. Troops recovered weapons, ammunition, and dozens of motorcycles, the lifeline of forest mobility. That alone was painful. But what followed was worse. The Nigerian Air Force shifted focus. Instead of chasing fighters, they began erasing infrastructure. Food depots. Fuel reserves. Ammunition dumps. Command shelters. When a bandit can no longer eat, refuel, or reload, courage collapses quickly. Hunger is louder than ideology. Fatigue is stronger than bravado. This is when even the most feared commanders start thinking less about domination and more about survival. And that brings us to the name that cannot be avoided in this conversation: Turji Bello. Just days ago, on December 21st, he released a video attempting damage control. He denied collecting 30 million naira from the government for a peace deal, but in the same breath, admitted that peace talks did happen. He tried to sound defiant. Tried to sound in control. But the shift was obvious to anyone paying attention. This is a man who used to post videos flaunting rifles, mocking authorities, and issuing threats without explanation. Now he is explaining himself. Now he is responding to rumors. Now he is trying to manage perception. That is not strength. That is pressure. It suggests a man who knows the forest is no longer neutral ground. A man who understands that if airstrikes can find logistics hubs buried deep in Zamfara, then no camp, his included, is truly hidden. But here is where the story becomes more complicated. While many Nigerians are celebrating, there is an uncomfortable truth that cannot be ignored. This war has scars. Earlier this year, and again as recently as June 2025, airstrikes mistakenly hit Yensokai vigilantes instead of bandits. These were civilians defending their communities. They paid with their lives due to intelligence failures. The military acknowledged these tragedies and promised investigations, but the pain remains. This is the ugly reality of forest warfare. Bandits deliberately embed themselves among civilians. They blur lines. They use villages as shields. So when they now claim they want peace to protect innocent lives, many analysts are calling it manipulation. A pause. A tactic. A way to breathe. And judging by the current posture from Abuja, that argument is being taken seriously. The federal government's tone has hardened. The message so far is clear: justice before negotiation. The intensity of operations in the final week of December suggests that the current order is not to slow down, but to finish strong. The heat has become so intense that some bandits are attempting to flee Zamfara entirely, slipping toward Niger State and Kaduna. But even that escape route has narrowed. Military planners anticipated this movement. Blocking forces were deployed. In one reported operation near Kuchi town in Niger State, troops working alongside the Department of State Services ambushed a fleeing group, neutralizing more than 45 fighters. This is the hammer and anvil strategy in action. Airstrikes from above. Ground forces waiting below. And it's working. Now the bandits are releasing captives. Turji Bello reportedly freed about 100 people as a peace gesture. But for many Nigerians, gestures are not enough. Farmers who lost harvest. Families who sold everything to pay ransom. Communities displaced for years, they are not asking for talks. They are asking for accountability. So the question hangs heavy in the air. Will the military pause now that the enemy is begging? Or will they press the advantage while the forest is still shaking? One thing is already certain. The era of bandits behaving like kings of the forest is ending. The forests no longer belong to them. They are no longer predators, they are fugitives. Men who once rode through fear are now running from the sound of jet engines, looking up at the sky and realizing, far too late, that the script has finally flipped.